Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. We're getting ready to get started here at Joe Langston Gymnasium as Hagerman and Eunice will face off in high school girls varsity volleyball. Just trying to test our mics and get things up and running. Testing 1 2 3.
Test 1 2 3. Out in volley ball. Sound loud in my own ears.
Testing. I think you can turn yourself down. Right, I think it's right here. Testing.
Way too much.
Testing.
Okay, yeah.
Testing.
Good.
Testing.
That's good right there.
Testing.
1 2 1.
Test.
One.
Once again, we're here at Eunice High School, Joe Langston Gymnasium. Trying to change levels on my volume a little bit here and there just to say there's a good spike, a set, a dig. Hello, yes.
Out in, bad call, good call.
I'm going to go ahead and play it back and see how it sounds and see if we need to adjust before we get up and running. All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Nullmark Broadcasting's coverage of Eunice Lady Cardinal Volleyball here from Joe Langston Gymnasium in Eunice, New Mexico. I'm Jimmy Jones alongside Rosendo Caballero and Charlie Fairbrush on the camera again. We will be teaming up to provide you with some play-by-play, some entertainment, probably a little minor comedy as we proceed forward through today's broadcast. Welcome, Rosendo, to the volleyball booth.
How you doing, Mr. Jones? Good afternoon.
Doing well. It's been a long week, a good week, a fun week. We've covered 3 volleyball games, a football game, and I guess fortunately, unfortunately, however you look at it, next week's a little slower. My understanding is next week all football teams in 2A will have a bye.
Huh.
And so there will be no matchups this coming week, is what I was told. I haven't seen that officially. That's what I was told. And looks like the volleyball teams only have 2 games next week, and we're only covering one of those. The Tatum broadcaster's covering the other ones because it's Eunice versus Tatum in Tatum, and so he's going to cover that. So it'll save us a little bit of our energy, I guess. We'll be able to
a little bit of our fuel, huh?
Save all of our punchline comedy for another day. So today, the 15-3 Lady Cardinals will be hosting Hagerman in a District 4 2A matchup. It should be a very competitive game. You can watch and listen to this game at hobbsamerica.com by clicking on the Cardinal or on YouTube at the Eunice Sports YouTube page. We will start today by talking about the last several months. The Lady Cards have been on a great run, which started September the 18th. The Lady Cards were playing in the Mountaintop Tournament in Cloudcroft. They had done well in pool play, and then they faced Animus in the first round of the bracket play. They ended up winning the first set really big. The second set, they were way ahead. Animus came back and got the win in that second set, and then Animus went on a run. And then Eunice came back and made it a respectful game, I guess. It ended up 3-2 in favor of Animus. After that matchup, the Cardinals have not lost a game since September the 18th. They are on a 9-game win streak. They've only lost 3 sets in the last 9 games. So they've really reeled off some really good matches. The Cards have multiple wins over 4A Lovington. They have wins over volleyball powerhouse Tatum. They also have multiple wins over Dora, Jow, Loving, Dexter, just to name a few. In volleyball, once you get to district play, you play each other twice in district play. Today's matchup is the last of the first round matchups for both of these teams. If the Lady Cards can win here today, they would be the leader going into the second half of district play with an undefeated district record. Hagerman has 1 loss in district play, and Tatum has 1 loss in district play. So a Lady Cardinal loss here would result in a 3-way tie for that district top spot in District 4-2A. So today is a huge, huge game for both these teams. The Lady Cards once again come into this game with a 15-3 overall record and a 3-0 district record this week. In fact, yesterday, late yesterday evening, the Max Preps polls were updated, and right now as we speak, Eunice sits in the number 4 spot. They actually leapfrogged Cloudcroft this week with 3 big wins, so a big move for the Lady Cardinals. Hagerman comes into this game as kind of a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde team. You know, you look at them, you look down there, you know this team over the last couple of years, and you expect them to be tough as nails, and I expect that they will be here today, but they have some amazing wins this year. They have beat 3 teams that were ranked number 1 in the state of New Mexico when they beat them. They have wins over Cloudcroft when they were ranked number 1, and they're the defending state champs. They have a win over Mescalero when Mescalero was ranked number 1, and they're the defending runner-up from last year, as well as the state champs from the year before that. So another powerhouse that they've beat this season. Hagerman also split with Capitan, and when Hagerman beat Capitan, Capitan had recently taken over the number 1 spot in state. So they've got 3 wins over number 1 teams in the state of New Mexico. They also have a win over 1A powerhouse Elida 3-0, which anybody that's watched Elida do anything knows that if you can go beat Elida 3-0,
that's real deal right there.
That's real deal. So this team has also lost some strange games. They lost to Tatum 3-0. They lost to Melrose, which, of course, Melrose is no joke. They lost to Texaco. Texaco, we all know how that is. They lost to Cloudcroft the second time around when they played each other. They are currently 10-7 overall, and they are 2-1 in district play. When talking about individual players on this Lady Cardinals team, we've mentioned her before, but 6'3" junior hitter Caitlin Gallant. She's the all-state hitter from last year, a multiple-time state champion thrower in track and field. She's long, she's powerful, and when she's on, she can hit it harder than just about anyone. During the last couple of months, she's played really well, and we talked about it last week. The way their rotation goes, she just plays the front row, and when she's in the front right and Kiki Parker's in the front left, it really don't matter who else is on the court. Now, I mean, it does. You got to have those other people in the back to pick the ball up, but when those 2 players are where they're strongest, this team is just almost unstoppable.
I agree with you 100%
I think we're state champion caliber when those 2 people are in those spots. The problem is the way the rotation goes. Every time, a point is scored for us, or, the serve changes hands, we all rotate. And so she's only in that spot for so long, and then she has to rotate. And unfortunately, when she rotates from that spot, she rotates to the bench. And we noticed last time we would be on like an 8 or 9 point run. She would go to the bench, and then the next thing you know, the other team's on an 8 or 9 point run. And so it's just a matchup thing that we discussed the last game that we're going to have to see if we can get worked out. We mentioned Kiki Parker. Kiki Parker is another long, very athletic player. She can do it all. She plays front row most of the time, but she can serve. She can play back row. Kiki, as we all call her, has huge potential for this team to return to the Final Four. I've said it before. She's going to have to step up and carry the load because she spends actually a lot more time on the court than does Gallant, who's the other big leader up there in the front. And, this past week, we even saw Kiki return to start playing some back row and serving, which she does a great job serving. Libero Chloe Jones is as quick and athletic as anybody out here. She has really stepped up over the last several weeks and months. During this streak, she's kind of become a leader on the team. You see her diving around that back line, doing these one-arm saves and keeping balls in play, and she's really started to figure this out. Of course, I'm a little biased. I'm dad, but at the same time, she has not played volleyball as much as a lot of these kids. She spent a lot of time in the gym playing basketball through her career or through her life. Volleyball is just something that she recently decided she was kind of taking serious, and so she's trying to catch up. Like I said, she's as athletic as anybody, but she's doing well, and she's much improved for sure. Let's see here. Some of the others that we talk about, Bella Garrett, she's another big returner from last year. She usually plays the front row, and then when they rotate, she rotates to that back row to serve, and then once she serves, she comes off the floor. She's best when she's at the net blocking. She is an outstanding blocker. She can block with the best of them. Yolanda Granados is a junior who plays both the front and back row. She's one of the most consistent players on the team. This last week was probably the first time I've ever seen her struggle. She struggled a little bit this last week with her consistency. I have said all year long she was the most consistent player on the team. She never does anything that makes you say, wow. But at the same time, she very seldom does anything that makes you say, dang it, why didn't you get that one? She's just solid.
Fundamentally, she's very, very sound.
Yes. Senior Denise Rangel, I've mentioned this before. She's kind of the vocal leader of the team. Every time we hit a ball that lands in play, she's the one that leads the chants and the cheers. You hear her voice over everybody. She does a really good job of being loud, talking, all that sort of thing. I think that her biggest thing that we need from her is consistency, and we need her to focus, because sometimes she loses that focus.
And she's gone.
She's
lost, kind of confused, dazed.
Athletically, she's as athletic as anybody out there for sure. She's definitely got the skill. She can jump, she can run, she can move. And like I said, she's a vocal leader. Senior Maribel Lopez, still out hurt. We are wishing her the best. Sophomore Kelly Stinson, she plays a little bit of everything. She's a setter, she's an outside hitter, she plays a little back row. She can pretty much play any position. Early in the season, they had her setting most of the time. Now it seems like they've played her in the back row a lot.
A little bit.
And so, she's one that definitely has a bright future here with the Lady Cards. Tinley Acosta is another back row defensive type kid. However, I have seen her the last couple of weeks play some front row as well, and she's done a good job up there. She's athletic, she's smart, and she can do just a little bit of everything. She's a great young lady. Didi Zamora has come on strong the last couple of weeks. She wasn't even on this varsity roster, the first half of the season probably. Just the last few weeks, all of a sudden she's on the varsity roster.
Worked her way up.
Not only is she out there, she's playing big minutes. She's in the rotation. I think she's even started a couple games here lately, and she's done a really good job. She can jump. She gets up at the net, and she continues to improve each game. Vivi Ornalis is kind of a serving specialist. She serves the ball really well. She hits kind of an awkward-looking knuckle ball that flies right over the top of the net and seems to give people fits. When she's serving well, she can really give people a hard time. She also plays pretty good in that back row position when she's needed back there. McKenna McBee is the only freshman on this varsity group. She's another one that's more of a defensive specialist. She plays that libero position on the JV and then gets to suit out and often gets some minutes in the rotation on that back row at the varsity. She's another young lady that you can look for big things from in the future. The Lady Cardinals are coached by Robbie Robinson. She's assisted by Misty Heiner. I've mentioned before, but Robbie was a state champion in 1996 as a head coach. Also, she returned to the state championship game in 2016, where Eunice was defeated in the championship game by Texaco. The latest rankings have the Lady Cardinals sitting in the number 5 spot. Tularosa, just yesterday, moved into the number 1 spot. They leapfrogged Texaco. Texaco's number 2. Laguna Acoma is number 3. Eunice is number 4. Cloudcroft is number 5. The latest coaches poll that came out this week has Texaco sitting in the number 1 spot. So that's kind of an overview of everything going on here today. We're ready for what could be one heck of a game here in Eunice. And, everyone, you're listening to Eunice Cardinal Volleyball on the Nullmark Broadcast Network. Any thoughts for Sendo?
Yes, I think they should put some more back row spiking from Kiki if she's in the game. If she's going to be playing that back row, take advantage of it. Give her some spikes from the back row.
You know, that is something that you mentioned. That is something that you don't see us do much. And, they have to spike they have to jump. They have to leave their feet from behind that white line.
Correct.
I'm definitely not a big-time rules guy on volleyball, but I know that you can set the back row. They just have to leave their feet, and their momentum can carry them past the line, but they have to leave their feet from behind that white line. Kiki's long enough that if she'd get a run and start and hit that white line and get in the air, she could be halfway to the net and probably slam it down pretty hard.
Right now, this time of the year would be perfect time to sneak that in there because she hasn't done that all season. If she does it right now, they're not prepared for that back row spike when she's in the back, and that way you can leave number 23 in the front a little bit longer.
Right.
You have 2 weapons on the court at the same time.
Yeah,
that's just my point of view as a fan.
Something else that I haven't noticed as much the last few years, I remember my first year moving back down to Eunice. It's probably been about 12 years ago when I moved back into Eunice to be the police chief and was coaching girls basketball. I would come up here and watch our volleyball team, trying to think of some of those girls. I think Morgan Pascal, Laura Clack, Randy Vincent, Piper Mullins. I'm in my head, I can see a lot of them's faces, and my names just don't want to come to my tongue. But anyway, they had an extremely tough group back then, and something that group used to do is you would see multiple, like when the setter was ready to set the ball, you would see multiple people making a run at the net, and you weren't sure which one they were about to set.
Like a decoy.
They might have like a middle person coming up like they were going to spike, and then one on the outside. And one time they might hit it backwards to the little short one, and slam it down in the middle. The next time they might hit it long and high outside where Laura or somebody could slam it down. I don't see us do that. I mean, it's obvious to me every time we set it who's about to hit it. And so they send that double block at us and give us some fits on that. Tatum was another team back then when I first got here. Of course, Tatum, I think they had won like 4 straight state championships. They had the big 6'4", 6'5" girl that ended up at UNM doing amazing things up there. But that group used to do that as well, and you would see a lot of movement as that setter was setting the ball. You would see like 3 different people make a run at the net with them, and you weren't sure which one of them was about to get it until they slammed it right down in your face.
A little quick spike down the center, too, that can help us as well. And doing that takes a lot of communication with the team, a lot of chemistry as well. And something that's hard to develop when you have that rotation, getting Gallant out and leaving her out for like 9 points, trying to put her back in. So it's hard to build that chemistry on the court.
Yeah, I agree. As far as the roster goes, you want to go over those roster? You got one. You want to go over that roster real quick? And while you do that, I'm going to take my headset off a little bit and listen and make sure that our sound sounds okay. If anybody's out there listening, you want to let us know, give us a thumbs up. You sound okay, you sound terrible. It sure helps us to make sure everybody can hear us.
Okay, for the Eunice Lady Cardinals, we have Chloe Jones, a sophomore. We have Kiki Parker, a junior. Maribel Lopez is a senior, which she's hurt right now. We have McBee, she's a freshman, the only freshman on the team. Tinley Acosta, she's a junior. Didi Zamora, she's a junior. Caitlin Stinson, which is a sophomore. Rangel, she's a senior. Isabella, she's a senior. Yolanda Granado, she's a junior. Vivi Ornelas, she's a junior. And Caitlin Gallant, she's a junior for the Eunice Cardinals. She's coached by Robinson McBee and Heiner, Coach Heiner. And for the Lady Bobcats, we have Isabella, Natalie, Jimena, Melissa, Crystal, Emily, April, and they're coached by Sarah Foster and Monica Morales. They have they have 3 seniors on that team, and they have 4 juniors and 2 sophomores. They have no freshmen on that team, so they have a pretty strong team, pretty young team as well. So that's our matchup today for the Lady Cardinals against the Hagerman Bobcats, the Lady Bobcats.
So there strolls Ovi through the camera there. He gets him a little TV time. Big football game last night. The Cards traveled over to Loving for their last regular season game of the year and picked up a big win over in Loving. So
It was a good win for them last night.
Yeah, and they played good. A lot of kids got a lot of minutes. Now we're just kind of in that holding pattern, waiting to see what's going to happen as far as bracketing.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be a long week for these schools to wait, see who's going to come out, where they're going to play. But we owe a lot of people on our games, do we not?
Yeah. I think the first round, the top seed gets a home game, and after that, I think we're on the road no matter who we play.
Yes.
You know, we've played so many home games the last couple of years. The Cardinals have taken the floor. It does not appear that we're going to have any type of national anthem or any of that kind of stuff with the Cardinals already on the floor. Once again, we play with that libero position, which means we have 6 girls already on the court. And then what happens is once the referee logs everybody into their position, then one of them steps off and Chloe Jones steps onto the floor. So Eunice will have their starting group. It's Caitlin Gallant, Denise Rangel, Kiki Parker, Yolanda Granados, Tinley Acosta, and Chloe Jones out there on the floor ready to go.
You got the big guns out there on the Eunice today, huh?
Yeah. The Hagerman Bobcats are going to have Melissa Chandler, the junior, to serve. She hits a really good serve. We get it up into the air, and then Chloe drives it back across the court, so it's over to Hagerman's side. Hagerman with a set. They try the little dink at the net. Yolanda Granados does a good job getting it over to Rangel. Rangel sets Caitlin Gallant, and Caitlin Gallant slams it right off of a Bobcat defender out of bounds. So that's a point for the Cardinals.
She hit that thing with authority, but she's on the rotation. She's on the bench at this given moment.
Yeah, that's what we talked about last week. It's definitely kind of spooky when she goes over there.
So let's see what Eunice can do here. Oh, good job.
There's a really good job there by Garrett with a nice spike. So, spike. I stuttered on that one.
She came all the way through. That's a good way to get her going right now, early in the game.
So here comes Jones with another serve. That's her second serve. She's picked up 2 service points. Here goes the Bobcats with a nice spike, and they pick up a point.
You notice on that set for the Hagerman, they didn't set it so high. It's lower to the net, so they get to it faster. That way we can get in defensive position.
Right. So here comes the serve. That's number 3, Isabella Flores. She gets it across. The Cardinals get it back across, and Isabella Garrett with a nice little shot right there. And she gets another point. That makes it 3-1 in favor of the Lady Cardinals. Denise Rangel, the senior, will go back to serve. Looks like Tinley Acosta is headed to the bench, and number 5, which is
Didi Zamora.
Is that Didi Zamora that came in?
Oh, Denise got a good serve that Hagerman couldn't handle, and they got another point for Eunice.
So Rangel with the service point.
She did good last week, too, serving.
Yes, she's done a good job this year. I mean, she's a senior. She's strong. There's a good serve there again. Hagerman doesn't get a very good play on it, but then they hit it over.
Good job.
Chloe Jones ends up doing almost the same thing, but when she popped it up too close to the net. And Hagerman slammed it down, and they're going to get a point. So it's
that
now
number
4-2.
16 for Hagerman, she's pretty tall.
Yeah.
Some long arms as well.
April Nassis, I believe, is her name. I was trying to see who this one is that's serving. That's number 10. That's Carlise Villa.
And her serve hit right off the net, went right over.
Yep.
Ooh, another job by Bella.
Really good shot there by Bella. But Hagerman's able to keep it alive.
Didi, first time for Kiki.
Didi hits it back to Kiki. Kiki hits it over. So here comes Yolanda Granados sets Kiki. Kiki's going to slam that one down. Hagerman dives in and keeps it alive. They're going to play it back across into Cardinal defense. Granada struggles to get around Didi, and then Kiki Parker just dinks it right into the open space.
Open palm off the heel of the palm and just hit right over. It spun over. That's a good job.
I'd like to see us do that more. You know, talking about those Tatum teams that had a lot of success, they did a lot of that.
Yes, a lot of bumping.
Just right into that little soft touch into the open space. So here we go with Kelly Stinson. Stinson gets a pretty good serve. Hagerman struggling with it. It hits the ceiling, and so Stinson with a nice service point. It's 6-2 in favor of the Lady Cardinals.
That's easy money when they can do that right there.
So Stinson, the sophomore, back to serve again. She's done a good job for the Lady Cardinals this year. She gets a nice
that's
serve
in,
right
right
on the
on the
line,
line.
and that is in. So a great service ace right there that
That's a
nobody
very
even
good job.
touches.
Hagerman thought it was out all the way, but it wasn't.
Yeah, their libero sat back there and watched it hit the line. So it's 7-2. So here comes the serve. They hit it right over.
Oh, they see
Eunice
some.
keeps it alive. Really good job there by Stinson. Then Dee Dee Zamora just hits it across. So Hagerman goes up. They're going to try to set here. Chloe Jones bumps it up. Stinson with the set. Dee Dee Zamora hits
That's
it up out of bounds back over into that corner. So Zamora's hit is long. That'll give a point to the Bobcats.
And Bella had a partial block on that one a minute ago. Put a little bit of spin on it. That's why the girls had a hard time dealing with it.
So it's 7-3 in favor of the Cardinals. Number 5, I don't have a number 5. Maybe my eyeballs are old, which is very possible.
Very possible. Good. Oh.
The Bobcats hit that one into the net. That server was Gomez. That's number 8. I said 5, and
Natalie Gomez.
my glasses are sitting over here. It's hard to wear sometimes, my glasses and my headset and my face mask and all that good stuff. So anyway, so I can't see I'm old.
Served by Bella.
Bella with a good serve. Hagerman's going to return it. Denise
job.
Rangel does a really good job of saving it and keeping it in play. Granados just hits it across. Hagerman's content with hitting it back. Granados hits that one into the teeth of the defense, but they hit it right back to her. And then Galan hits it over her head back over the net.
Oh,
Hagerman
good
at
block
the net,
by
a
Dee
nice
Dee.
block there by Dee Dee
By
Zamora.
herself. She got up and got that. That's a very good job on her.
Good job, Dee
She was
Dee.
quick off jump off her feet. That's awesome.
She's athletic. There is
Yeah.
no doubt about it.
She came up real quick off the feet, and Hagerman calls a timeout on that one.
Hagerman's not liking it. They're going to take a timeout here. This timeout is going to be brought to you by Parker Energy Services. Brett and Penny Parker will bring you this timeout. They'll also bring you Kiki Parker, who's playing out there and doing a great job for the Lady Cardinals. When you've got Kiki Parker on the floor hitting it like she's hitting it, that'll force any team to call a timeout. So once again, this timeout is brought to you by Parker Energy Services. Thoughts so far?
And so far, Eunice is moving faster, jumping off the ball real quick. So it's a very good thing. We just got to make sure we maintain this intensity to win this game right here.
That is one thing with this Lady Cardinal team sometimes. Sometimes they can relax a little bit when they get on a
They
big
usually
run.
do it the second set.
So the Cardinals are ready. Bella Garrett's back to serve. She's going to serve all the way from back at the wall. She's back there with the cheerleaders. Here comes the serve. It's a good one.
That's a very good one.
Hits it across, and then
Okay.
Hagerman.
Oh, good job, man. But she couldn't get up off the ground.
Denise Rangel almost picked it up enough, and then Gallant struggled to pick it up even more, and so that's going to be a point for the Lady Bobcats. It's now 9-4. Chloe Jones comes back onto the court. She takes that first touch and hits it.
It's one of those 50-50 balls, Coach.
That's 2 of those that she's done where she hits them right up on the top of the net.
And once again, Hagerman has all the height up front. So
Yes.
those 50-50 balls, they're going to win them if we don't get up fast.
Yeah, so it is 9-6 in
I guess that
favor of the
timeout
Bobcats.
worked out for the Bobcats, huh?
Yeah, they've kind of swung the momentum. The pendulum has swung in their direction. They've got number 4 stepping back there to serve. That's Shaylee Gonzalez. Gonzalez
Shaylee.
back to serve. Here comes the serve. Chloe hits that first one. Doesn't get a good touch again. Granados pops it up, and Rangel hits it across. They're going to set number 13. That's Melissa Chandler. She hits it across.
Give it
The
to her.
Cardinals are able to keep it alive.
Oh, that's out. A little
And
too
then,
hard, a little too high.
Caitlin Gallant muscles that one. She hits it all the way out of bounds. So it's
Sometimes on those
9-7.
hits, Jones, you got to let the ball travel just a little bit more for it to be able to come down all the way.
Yeah. So here comes the serve from
good
the
job.
Bobcats. There's another one of those 50-50
50-50
balls, and we can't get it up. So it's 9-8.
And that's a problem we had last week against Jow, or this week we had against Jow. We had our problem with the 50-50 balls.
Yeah, we talked about that the other day. Sometimes those give us fits. That first touch is so important to us. We get that one across. Hagerman is set up for what they need to do. We're struggling a little bit. Got a lot of scrambling going on here.
Oh, good job. Good recovery on the Hagerman part on that.
So good block at the net by Hagerman. Chloe Jones makes a save there. The Cardinals keep it alive. We've got a huge volley going
Yes.
here with a lot of scrambling.
Oh,
And that one
We lost that
is
volley.
spiked and in. That's number 13, Melissa Chandler, who slams it down into the teeth of the defense.
she's
It's
playing that
9-9.
line very well.
She's
She
hit
is hitting
several
that line
right
very
down
well.
that line, and they've just been just in.
And keep in mind that back row has to play a large space by just by 2 people.
And they're large. They've got some height up there on the front row. So here comes the serve, and they're going to hit that one straight out of bounds. That's Shaylee Gonzalez.
That's our best defense so far.
Absolutely. So that makes it 10-9 back in favor of the Cardinals. Tinley Acosta back to serve. She hits a good one.
Serve.
Hagerman does a good job of getting that one up, though, into the teeth, and they spike it toward the back row. Chloe misplays it, and it hits the ceiling and comes down. So
and those plays are hard, Mr. Jones, because she's so far back, and she don't know if it's in or out. I used to tell Kendra, if it's over your head, you got to look up, it's out, let it go.
And she was right on the line when she played that one. It might have been out. Hagerman hits that one over to her. Didn't get a great first touch this time either, but we pick it up, and then we spike it back, and it's out of bounds. So that's going to give Hagerman their first lead of the game.
It's not good.
So 10-11, Hagerman in the lead. Here comes the spike from Hagerman.
Couldn't handle
we misplay that one. When we get it back into play, they're going to hit it across. So now Hagerman has a free ball here. They're going to set the one that's been spiking it down the line.
Good job
Chloe
there.
Jones keeps that one alive. She does a good job there. Rangel's just going to send it across, so they're going to have another shot. Here they go. Chloe keeps that one alive. Stinson punches it over the net, so Hagerman's going to have another free ball. They punch that one back toward the corner. And Eunice is going to play it across, so Hagerman has another free ball.
Yeah, good volley here, too. You see that going down the center there.
All right, now here we go. We should have a good set here, and here comes Gallant. And they blocked us at the net.
Oh, good job.
Gallant slaps that one back across. We actually won a 50-50. Jones gets to the back and saves that one. They set Gallant. Gallant hits it down.
Is a long volley.
Hagerman keeps it alive. We've got one heck of a volley going here. Rangel hits that one across. We are still, man, this is a long volley here. Jones keeps that one alive.
But Denise was in the net.
Oh, and Denise Rangel gets in the net. A great lengthy volley, but unfortunately for the Lady Cards, Hagerman scores, and they're in the lead. It's 10-12.
Scorking serve, number 14.
Yeah, she's giving us fits. That's Crystal Olivas.
See how she tips it over. She watches the communication, ladies.
So that's going to make it 13.
Their setter for Hagerman, number 3, she sees the court pretty good, and she just pushes that ball over, and we're not aware of that. And we need to jump up and scare her.
So here comes the serve from Olivas. We misplay that first touch. That was Rangel. She gets it to Granados. Rangel then just sends it back across the net. So they have a free one here. And Hagerman hits it into the net. That's fortunate for the Cardinals.
Yeah, because Olivas was serving from both sides of the court.
Yeah, she was moving around. It's now 11-13 in favor of the Lady Bobcats. Granados with the serve. She hits a good one right down the line. Hagerman gets it in play. They have a nice set right there. Tinley Acosta picks that one up, gets it to Granado, and then Kiki Parker with a great spike. That spike is brought to you by Devon Energy. When there's a spike in oil prices, Devon usually has a hedge, so they don't see that spike. So it's 12-13. Granados with the serve. There's a pickup there by the Bobcats. They bump it over. There's a 50-50 balls. We get it alive.
Yeah, we
that
won
was a good deal for the Lady Cardinals. Jones saves that one in the back. Over to Granados. Rangel bumps it right in the middle, but they dive and save it. A one-hand push from the Bobcats gets the Cardinals back.
Give it to her.
Now we try to set Gallant, but we set it behind her, so she just has to hit it across.
Little miscommunication on the back, or they both turned around and looked at each other.
So 12-14 now in favor of the Bobcats.
We need to give either the Kiki or the Gallant, man. They're both in there for a reason.
We're having a tough time getting those first touches to where we can see like that.
But I said it last game. We all have a certain area we got to play within your zone, and that would not occur.
We hit that one to Granados area. She tries to swing at it sideways, and it hits the ceiling, and so the Bobcats get a point. And that ball actually hit the top of the net from the serve from Chandler on the Bobcat side and spins over and lands on the Cardinal side. So it's 12-16. Might be time for a timeout. There's a good first touch by Granados. They try to set Gallant. Gallant hits it into the net.
The ball traveled too much on her, came down too fast on it.
So it's 12-17, and here comes the timeout. This timeout here is going to be brought to you by Eunice Pump and Supply. As we mentioned yesterday, if you need timeout, You just call them. They'll deliver those parts right to your location.
Yes, they will.
So it is 12-17. The Cardinals took a huge lead early in this set, and the Bobcats came roaring back, and now they're up 5.
Yeah, and the Eunice, the only thing they're doing wrong, they're misplaying the ball the first hit over on the serve.
Yep.
Other than that, they're looking great. Just Hagerman's out hustling right now in this first set, so we'll see if they can out hustle them this time.
See if they can get something going here. You know, as we mentioned coming into this game, we're ranked number 4. Hagerman is ranked number 10. But as crazy as that is, they've got 3 wins over teams that were number 1 at the time. So they have taken down 3 Goliaths this year. They're not a joke.
No, they're not, just by looking at them.
So 12-17. Here goes Chandler to serve for the Bobcats. She serves a good one. Tinley Acosta misplays it, but Parker gets it back in, and then the Cardinals send it over. Here goes the set for the Bobcats. We keep it alive. That's Acosta again, and then Jones is going to clear it back over to the other side. There's another set for the Bobcats, and then they
on that line,
throw
man.
it. Almost looked like she reached up and kind of hooked it with her hand and threw it across the, across the line.
That's what I mean. When they see the court, they're just pushing it to where they need to push.
So that's 12-18. Eunice Granados does a good job there of keeping that one alive. Chloe Jones keeps it back, hits it over the back of her head across the line. We're going to set Galan here. That ball's right at the net, and Galan hits the net.
She's getting a little anxious out there trying to hit the ball hard with authority, so she needs to back up a little bit, take a breath, and play volleyball, man. That's all we need to really do.
So it is 12-19 here. The Hagerman Bobcats have taken control of this game. A nice play there by Rangel. Granados with a good first touch.
Oh, what was that? One of those 50-50 balls and misplayed at the net, man. We need a...
So it is 12-20, and we just look discombobulated. That's the word of the day. 12-20, here comes the serve. Chloe plays that one up to Rangel. Rangel to Gallant. Gallant hits it across. Hagerman's going to have the set there at the net.
Oh, man.
And we do nothing with it, so they score again. It is now 12-21.
We are making Hagerman look good right now.
Really good.
We're doing good until that timeout. We actually called that timeout. We're doing good. We just get a little confused out there.
So we make a sub here. Vivi Ornales comes in for Granados. Here comes the serve from Chandler. Vivi hits that one out of bounds. So that's going to be 22-12. Hagerman up in control here behind the serve of Melissa Chandler, the junior.
We just cannot fix that first hit. We can't fix that.
We are struggling with their serve. We do it again there. We send it across. Hagerman misplays that one, and we get a point.
Yep, they thought it was out and it's right on the line, so that's a little icebreaker on there. We hope we can get the ball moving back on our side.
So 12-13, Chloe Jones goes back to the service line. Here's the serve. She hits that one deep back into the corner. Hagerman keeps it alive. They're going to set up, and they spike it right into the teeth of our defense, and nobody gets it. So it is now 23-13. So here goes the next serve. Jones plays that one up right toward the net. We struggle with it. We keep it alive.
Oh, good job by Denise.
Denise Rangel hits a little, looked like almost like a two-hand slam dunk. And I'll make it 24-14. And so Hagerman has a chance to take set 1 here. Remember, the Lady Cards lost set 1 last night. They've only lost 3 sets. I mentioned in our pregame, they've only lost 3 sets in the last 9 games. So it's 15-24. Kiki Parker comes into the game to serve.
We have an official timeout, so we tie the shoe out there.
Yeah, got to tie that shoe, make sure those shoes are tied.
Put some Velcro on them, huh?
So here comes the serve from Parker.
Good serve.
Good serve. Hagerman struggles with it, but they get it across. Oh, goodness. We wasn't sure who was going to hit it. Somehow we kept it alive.
Oh, good block,
Bella.
Good
block by Bella Garrett at the net.
Good job, Bella.
So 24-16. Kiki Parker returns to the service line.
1 point at a time. We got a sub coming in now for, what's that, Granado?
Granados comes in.
Vivi's
and Vivi goes out. Parker with the serve. She hits a nice one. Hagerman does a really good job. They've got a nice set there, and we struggle with it. It hits right in front of Parker. She keeps it, or tries to keep it alive, hits it into the net. That makes it 25 to 16. The Lady Cards lose set number 1.
Well, that's kind of our trend. We lose the first one, but after that we usually come in and perform. So they did good on that game. I mean, they defended the ball real good. They just at towards the end they let it get away. But hopefully they can do better this second set.
So that first set, you know, we will chalk that one up to we got to do some things a little different here. Comes set number 2. I want to make sure we shout out to our sponsors: Parker Energy Services, Devon Energy, Eunice Pump and Supply, Eunice Health Clinic, Eunice Public Schools, Cardinal Hardware, the City of Eunice, Zia Auto Shop, and Redbird Gas. Thank you guys for all that you do. Without you, we could not bring these broadcasts to people that aren't able to make the game. So we appreciate all of you that are listening out there. Rosendo and I and Charlie, we try to make this. We've got Charlie doing the camera. You know, and we try to make this as good as we can. At the same time, our goal as we sit up here and do this is to make it sound like two guys just watching the game, jabbering about it. We want to kind of give you a play-by-play at the same time. Our thoughts were, let's make this sound like two guys having a conversation about what's happening during the game and make it fun you know, make it something that people want to listen to. And if you look at our ratings, you know, you hate to pat yourself on the back, but I'm pretty good at that sometimes. If you look at the ratings, especially the last month or so, our ratings are really, really climbing. We're doing a good job on getting folks to listen. So we appreciate you listening out there.
Yes, tremendously.
Hagerman's already back on the floor. Eunice is finishing up with their little in-between sets conversation. Chloe Jones is going to start this set at the service line. So here goes the first serve.
It's a very good serve.
Hagerman keeps it alive. They just bump it across. Denise is going to try to set Garrett, and Garrett hits it into the net.
There's the late call there, but it was a kind of hard way for her to spike the ball because that ball was set way back. She could not stretch out that far by and get that.
So that's going to make it 1-0 in favor of the Bobcats.
Once again.
So there's a nice
good
touch
job by
there
Bella.
by Bella. Bella with a nice
Very
little
good job
spike
by Bella
point
right
there.
there.
She kind of touched it right into that open space there, so that makes it 1-1.
1-1. So far, it's a good start.
Denise Rangel back to serve for the Lady Cardinals. She throws it up and hits it over.
A little too hard.
And
too
hits
hard.
it long, so it's out of bounds. That makes it 2-1 in favor of the Bobcats.
And keep in mind, we have this long rotation right now, so it's going to be a while before we see our big gun in there.
Yeah, Gallant rotates to the bench here, so usually it seems like it's about 9 points before she gets a chance to come back onto the floor. So Rangel gets a good first touch there. Parker sets,
Good job.
sets Bella Garrett, and Garrett with a nice touch finds a little open space in the teeth of the Bobcat defense.
And that's how we started the last game off, too, as long as we can keep moving the ball like this.
So it's 2-2. Kiki Parker's going to serve this time, so she steps back to the service line. We've been seeing that more the last couple of games. Here's the serve by Parker. It's a good one.
She has a pretty serve, I'll tell you that much.
So here goes. They set the back row
Good
person.
job.
Chloe keeps it alive. Rangel hits it up. Parker with the set. Granados gets blocked at the net.
And there's no defensive there around her to help her pick that ball up if it is blocked.
Yeah, she set it from probably a good 6 foot off the net from back, and they blocked it straight down, and nobody gets to it. So Bobcats back with a 3-2 lead. Kiki Parker keeps that one alive. Jones returns it back to the middle, and Granados sends it across to the Bobcats. Bobcats with a bump set, and here comes that spike on the outside. Jones keeps that one alive. Parker's going to try to set Granados. Granados does good just to get it across the net, and then Hagerman just returns it back.
Same thing with you. They just returned it back. Free ball for Hagerman.
Yeah. In some of these volleys and scrambles, we've seen a lot of this where both sides are just content with hitting it over and letting the other team try to play it.
Give it to her.
Oh,
a little weak.
Garrett hits that one into the net.
Kiki's in the back. Give her one time. Let her have a back spike. Just try it one time for giggles and grins.
So it is now the scoreboard showing 2-4. I had 3-3, but I'll adjust mine.
Oh, that ball ate her up.
So it is 2-4 is what the scoreboard says. They're going to set that outside hitter. Jones does a good job of picking it up. Then Parker hits it, and the play on the outside from Granados goes into the blocker, but it goes out of bounds, so it's going to be a point for the Lady Cardinals. So it's 3-4. Bella Garrett, the senior, will be back to serve.
And 2-3 is on the court.
Yes. So here comes the serve from
Oh,
Garrett. She gets a good serve. Rangel picks it up. A trouble ball there, but Hagerman keeps it alive. A good scramble on their part. Oh man.
There's a little miscommunication there who's going to be the setter.
Yes.
Because on the court right now, you have 3 girls that can set the ball.
Yep.
And so I guess someone has to dictate who's going to do it during that set.
So it's 3-5 in favor of the Bobcats. First touch there is not a good one either, so we just send it back over to the Bobcats. They're going to have an opportunity to spike it on us here, and they send it out of bounds. So
barely. That's barely out.
So 5-4 in favor of the Bobcats, and Tinley Acosta will step up to the service line.
And I guess for Eunice Yolanda's I think she's going to be the setter now. She initiated it a minute ago, so we'll see. Oh, that's out by foot.
So Tinley Acosta hits that one long. It's now 6-4 in favor of the Lady Bobcats. That's, is it number 14, the libero that's going to be serving here? Yeah, so she's the libero. She'll be serving. She hits that one to Jones, and Jones misplays that one.
That's a nice serve, man.
Yeah, it was a line drive serve right up in front of Jones. Jones tried to get some hands on it, but she deflected it almost straight sideways when she got there. And that was another one that was very tough to handle. We keep it alive, and a good job by Denise Rangel up in the front for a point for the Lady Cardinals.
Just kind of pushed it over to the block, and she misplayed and gave us a point.
So it's 5-7 in favor of the Bobcats. Granados back to serve. There's a discussion going on between the officials.
But it is, when she goes up to block it, she hits it, she has the right to hit it again. And that's they blew the whistle on it a little early, but might be mistaken, but that's how it goes.
I think what this official on this side was saying is he thought she caught it and threw it up.
Oh, a little catch. Yep, they're going to redo it.
So the two officials didn't agree on the call. One of them thought she kind of caught it and threw it up. The other one thought that she had the right to hit it twice like what you're saying. And so there was a disagreement about it. So they've taken the point away from the Lady Cardinals, and they're going to replay the point.
That's a very good call. I like that when they get together, discuss it, and come out with the correct call. I concur with the refs today.
So it's 7-4. Number 14, Olivas, will be serving for the Bobcats. She hits a long one up toward Monument, and it is 5-7. I used to hear Miss Fight and Mr. Fairbrush next door to us. I used to hear them say the ball don't lie, and the ball didn't lie right there. So it's 5-7. Eunice serves it across. Hagerman sets. Jones keeps it alive. Rangel sends it back over to the Bobcats. The Bobcats with a bump set, and here comes a spike, and they hit it into the net. So it's 6-7 here.
It's a close game again.
The Bobcats won the first set after Eunice had a huge lead early. Bobcats came roaring back, so we're in set number 2.
It's a good serve by Yolanda.
Oh, wow. The Bobcats do a good job of keeping that one alive. They set Gallant. And then they slam it, but they block her at the net.
Oh, we lost that 50-50 ball again.
Those 50-50 balls are eating our lunch at the net. So it's 6-8 in favor of the Bobcats. And number 13, Chandler's back there, and she did a really good job serving. She gave us fits in the first set. So here goes her set, or serve.
Chloe did get a ball playing.
Yes, Chloe kept that one alive, but unfortunately, all we were able to do was send it back across, and then they had a little bump set spike and slammed it down her throat.
Yes, and that's a tall girl serving the ball right now, so she can probably play all the way around, man.
Yeah, she's the big spiker up in the front, and now she's in the back row, and she does a good job for them. Rangel hits that one across and gets a point.
A little soft in that open area, and they couldn't play it. Hagerman couldn't play it, so
9-7.
If we can keep it this close, Mr. Jones, we have a chance of winning this game.
Well, Chloe Jones goes back to the service line. She throws it up and hits it. Hits that one deep, and it's a good one. Hagerman keeps it alive. They're going to try to hit it across, and they hit it into the net.
Yep, that's a good job. One point at a time, Coach. That's all we need.
9-8 after the service point from Jones. Here she goes again. She's back and ready. She throws it up and hits it. It's another good one. And they misplay it again, but they keep it alive. They do a really good job on those scrambles.
They got quick hands, don't they?
Yes, they do. Jones hits it back across after the volley. Chloe saves that one, keeps it alive. Granados to Parker. Parker slams it down,
Good
and
job.
that's a good point from Kiki Parker. That slam is brought to you by Parker Energy Services. And Kiki, Brett, and Penny Parker, maybe Kaylee and Jason there too. It's now 9-9. The Cardinals have evened it up here.
They couldn't handle that spike, and that's what we need. You need to give it to her more.
So here comes Jones back to serve. She's picked up 3 consecutive service points.
Oh, that was on the line. Oh.
Ooh.
That was out. Well,
Yeah,
from our point of view.
They called it out. It looked close from up here, but, you know, they're definitely closer than we are. So 9-10. Cards get that ball up into the air, and then we're just going to play it back over into the teeth of the defense.
Oh, Hagerman caught us sleeping there.
Yes, they did.
His one hit and came over, and they seen the sleeping. Chloe handled the ball, but the rest of the team didn't see it.
So what happened was, on that first touch, instead of a bump set spike type thing, they just sent it right back over into the open part of our defense. And there's another misplayed ball. So that's 9-12. So after a 3-point run by the Lady Cards, we've now got a 3-point run by the Lady Bobcats to put them up 3. It's 9-12.
You need to keep it close here.
Here goes the serve. Rangel hits it up high. Parker returns it back to her, and Rangel hits that one right into the net. It's 9-13, and Robbie Robinson wants a timeout so the Lady Cards can talk about it.
Wow. You need to just keep it together, ladies, and just kind of focus and finish the game.
And this timeout is brought to you by the Eunice Health Clinic. Leanne Reeves, Brian Nicky, Elma Romero, Aaron Yachty, and the gang. If you're not feeling well and you need a timeout, call down there and talk to Yachty or Elma. Tell them you need an appointment. They'll get you in. Leanne will make sure that everybody treats you right, and Brian and Nikki will get you fixed up so that your timeout doesn't last any longer than it has to. You'll be back to work in no time. If you got that Rona, they can help you with that too. So special thanks to Eunice Health Clinic. This timeout is brought to you by them.
Well,
so we're here in set number 2. The Cards trail by 4. They had taken the lead, and then the Bobcats came storming back. The Bobcats did win set number 1. Here comes the first, the serve after the timeout. Jones keeps it alive. Bella sends it across the net. Little bump set spike action for the Bobcats, and Eunice just sends it back over to them after keeping it alive. Here comes another set, and spike, and that one is in.
Right along the line again, man. That girl seems to play that line very well.
You know, at some point, our defense, including my own kiddo, has to figure out that that's where they like to hit it. And you're going to have to get over there on that line and play that corner.
That's
nice shot there by
Denise.
Rangel. Denise Rangel with a nice spike and
We
finish.
need more of that, man.
10-14 in favor of the Bobcats, and Rangel will be back to serve. So they stopped play here for just a second, and now they're saying they're ready. So Rangel is back. She's ready to serve. The senior number 10 throws it up and hits it over. A good first touch from the Bobcats. They're just going to send it back over to play. Chloe Jones with the first touch over to Granados. Kiki Parker with the spike and the point.
A little good swing there. The girls couldn't handle it on the Hagerman side. That's a good job on Kiki again.
11-14 in favor of the Bobcats. The Cards trying to make a little run here. Rangel will be back to serve again. They've got back within 3 here.
Within 3, man. We got to get closer.
So here goes Rangel with her serve. It's a pretty good one. The Bobcats get a nice little, and Chloe Jones dives and keeps that one alive. The Bobcats just send it right back. They are pretty good. There's a lot of thinking goes into the way they play, but Kiki Parker with a nice finish.
Nice. She's stepping up her game right now, which we need.
Absolutely. It's 12-14. The Cardinals claw back within 2. Rangel with 3 straight points from the service line. Here she goes to try another one. She throws it up and hits it over. Hagerman with the first touch. They set their person up and
right down the middle.
Spike it right on us.
You see how that was a quick set on Hagerman, and we were not prepared up front with our big girls there.
You know, that's something we talked about in the pregame, that we don't do any of that.
We don't.
I don't know, if that's just something that requires a lot of timing. I'm not sure, but we don't do much of that. That's number 10, Via with the serve.
Oh, good thought.
Chloe Jones with the first touch. Kiki Parker jumps up at the net, and rather than set, she tries to take that left hand and slam it down, but unfortunately for the Lady Cards, it gets in the net. So
that's a very good idea on her part.
It's 12-16. Bobcats back at a 4-point lead. Garrett sends it across. The Bobcats have problems with it, and the Lady Cards get another point. So back within 3. It's 13-16, and Kiki Parker returns to the service line.
It's 3 them, 3 us, 3 them, 3 us. Huh?
Unfortunately, it's never us 3 ahead like they are. So
that was out. Good
they
job.
misplayed that one, and we get another point. So a nice ace there from Kiki Parker. It's 14-16. We're within 2. Parker back to the service line again. The junior left-hander. She throws it up, smacks it, and it's in there for another good serve, but the Bobcats keep this one alive. They send it over the net to the Lady Cards. They set Garrett, and Garrett slams it into the net.
Man, we just got to time that just a little bit better.
So that's 14-17 in favor of the Bobcats, and they are back to serve. They hit that one across. I believe that's 8 Gomez. Chloe Jones returns it over to Hagerman. Hagerman with a little bump set. They try to set this back side. Chloe Jones hits it over to Parker. Parker to Granados, and Granados hits it into open space and gets a point.
And that ball had a hard time hitting the ground on Hagerman's side. They played it all the way.
Hagerman was hitting it with fingers or shoelaces or whatever they could to try to keep it off the floor. Eunice back within 2. Jones goes to the bench. Gallant comes back in. Here's the serve by Bella Garrett. Hagerman just sends it back across the net.
Give it to her.
Granados to Gallant.
There it is.
Gallant slams it, and we'll get a point there. That Eunice is now within 1.
And Hagerman calls a timeout.
Hagerman not liking what they see. Eunice trying to make a run here. It's 17-16. Eunice only trails by 1.
Good job, Eunice.
So the Lady Cards, like I said, after taking a big lead in set number 1, the Bobcats came storming back and ended up winning set number 1, 16-25. In set number 2 here, it's kind of been a set of runs. Eunice will make a 2-3 point run, then the Bobcats will make a 3-4 point run, and then it's kind of just been that back and forth the whole way. It's 16-17. The Lady Bobcats are in the lead by 1. There's a timeout.
Eunice is serving, so that's a good sign.
This timeout is brought to you by Redbird Gas and Bart Parker. They will help you out. When you need a timeout to hang out in your backyard and get that grill fired up, run down to Bart Parker and Redbird Gas and fill up that propane tank. Hagerman's back on the court. Bella Garrett back to serve. Here comes the serve from Garrett. It's a good one. Hagerman gets it into the air, and they just send it back across the net. They do that from time to time.
See if the catch is sleeping, I guess.
Yes, and they do sometimes. Gallant sends that one into the teeth of the Hagerman defense, and they just send it right back to us again.
There it is. Give it to her. Boom.
Nice,
Boom.
nice spike by Gallant, and a great set by Kiki Parker.
It just worked out perfect there, man.
And that ties it up at 17. That's one of those spikes that can't nobody do nothing with. All the Bobcats are shaking their head and looking at their coach like, what do we do with that?
Yeah. Put your hands together and pray for it.
And Bella Garrett hits that one across, and it is out of bounds.
She just misserved that, man.
So that gives the point and the lead back to the Lady Bobcats.
We needed the serve still.
18-17. Trying to see, this is looks like number 4, Gonzalez, and she hits that one into the net. Yeah. So the Lady Cards back, tied up 18-18. Tinley Acosta, the sophomore. No, she's a junior. The junior back to serve. So Acosta's ready. She throws it up and hits it over. Bobcats get a good first touch. Acosta gets a good first touch on our side. They set Gallant, and Gallant slams it down for the lead. The first Lady Cardinal lead, I think, of this match, or this set.
It is. And on that spike, she took a little bit off, and all the Hagerman goes, we're stepping so far back. Yeah. Just kind of snuck it in there.
Kiki Parker with a nice set, and then Gallant reared back, and the whole Hagerman team ran down to Jow, and she just touched it into the nice space. Tinley Acosta with a nice serve there. Hagerman keeps it alive. There's some miscommunication at the net.
On the Hagerman part.
And we've went back and forth a couple times since the Lady Cards.
I would give it to her as much as they can, because on the next set for us,
she goes back
to the bench.
Granados with the first serve. It's a nice one. They have a nice set there, and they set that same one, Chandler.
Just on the right-hand side now.
She just rotated, and now she's going to serve. And like I said, she has given us fits from the service line. She hits a real hard driving knuckleball, and we have had problems with it. Here it comes, and we let that one go out. And whew,
It was out? I couldn't
Yes.
see from here.
It was close, but our linesman called it out, which is good for the Lady Cards.
Yeah, it was
It's
a delay call.
22-20. Here comes Jones with the serve. There's some confusion in the back by Hagerman, but they keep it alive. They're going to hit it over into the space.
Oh.
And I don't.
It was a playable ball.
Yes.
It was a playable ball. She just, instead of getting position and hitting the ball, she tried to do something fancy and backwards. And
22-21. Lady Cards up by 1. Here goes the serve from number 8. I believe that's Gomez. First touch by Rangel. Rangel to Parker.
see, that's a back
Rangel
row spike.
Yes. So we get a nice first touch there. Granados to Parker. Parker slams it down, and she's going to get a point. It's now 23-21 in favor of the Lady Cardinals here. This is 2 huge points as Denise Rangel, the senior who's done a good job serving for us this year, returns to the service line.
And Rahel got a back row spike right there. Why can't we give it to Kiki?
There's a good serve by Rangel, but Hagerman keeps it alive, and they get a nice serve. And Jones dives one-handed, hits it up, but it lands over on the sideline, so that makes it 23-22.
Hagerman's not giving up on us.
Whew, Hagerman battling. They're going to make us fight for this point or this set win if we're going to get it. So it's a close one. It's a tough one. Here comes the serve. Bobcats get a good first serve. Eunice keeps it alive, and then Garrett hits it into the net.
Yep.
So that ties it up at 23-23. Kelly Stinson going to come in. Tinley Acosta going to step off. The only thing that worries me about this rotation is we've got like 4 setters on the floor, and sometimes we get confused over who's going to do what. We keep it alive there. Hagerman setting this outside. They slam it down, and nobody gets to it. And Hagerman takes a late lead, 24-23, and it is set point for them here.
That is tough emotionally for the girls right now.
Man, we need to win this one. This is a big, big point for the Lady Cards. We misplay the first touch, Granados does. Jones plays it back up. Stinson hits it across. Hagerman with a bump set, and they're going to try to spike it home here. Granados'
50-50
first touch goes to a 50-50 ball, and they slam it back down, and they win set number 2. That puts them up 2-0 after a 25-23 heartbreaker for the Lady Cardinals.
That was a tough game. They played a lot better than they did the first game. We just cannot pull the trigger on it. Can't finish the game off. We need to finish the game.
You know, it's the bad thing about it is when you have sets like that, it's real easy to say, let's scrap everything and try something completely different. The problem with that is over the last 2.5 months, your team has played really good. You go jerking a knot in everybody right now, you could have some troubles. And so,
but they're playing good right now.
I think
they're
so
just
too.
Being out hustled by Hagerman.
I agree.
That's all it is. The girls are doing excellent. They're doing everything they need to be doing. They're hitting the ball. They're covering their spaces. But Hagerman is just out hustling by 1 or 2 points, and that's all it takes to win the game.
Yeah. Well, sometimes as a coach, and I've been there, done that, not in volleyball, but you get frustrated with different things happening, and you decide, you know what, I'm just going to mix it all up and change everything.
No, we don't.
And then the next thing you know, you got a mess on your hands.
Yeah.
So, I think both of those first 2 sets. In fact, I mean, one of those sets, the first set we were up, I think 8-1 at one point. Hagerman come roaring back, and the wheels fell off. That set there, we had some really good. Runs.
Going and
just didn't quite get it done. And we knew coming in that this Hagerman team was good. Like I said, they have had wins this season over 3 teams that were ranked number 1 at the time they played them. So this is a tough team. They're ranked number 10, but
I don't see how they're ranked number 10.
It's because of they've played a heck of a schedule, number 1.
A real tough schedule they've played, huh?
But they've also, they've had some losses that they probably shouldn't have had. Like, I have no idea.
They lost to Tatum.
All due respect to Tatum, because Tatum's a very good team. I don't know how this team loses to them 3-0. So, they just, look at them. They're long, they're athletic, they've got kids that can flat out play. They look like a volleyball team.
They refuse to lose as well.
Yes, yeah. So, but apparently they don't refuse to lose enough. I think they've lost 7 or 8 games this season. So, So here we go. They're going to start with 13. That's Chandler. She's giving us fits from the service line. She slams that one down. We have a 50-50 ball, and we're going to lose it. She has given us absolute fits from the service line.
She has a very good serve. We just need to improve on receiving the ball.
Let's see what we do here. She's going to do the same thing, I would guess. There it is. And we misplay it again. So it's 2-0.
That was bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. Call a quick timeout? Or let him play through it?
I'm not sure. That's why I'm not a volleyball coach. I just get to sit up here and talk about it on the radio. Here goes the serve again. Chloe with a first touch, but it's a 50-50 ball.
And we won that one.
And we finally keep it alive. Now we send it over the Bobcats. They've got a bump, a set. And they spike it into Rangel. Rangel tried to block, but she didn't
have any help on the right or the left side on that block.
So that's 3-0 in favor of the Bobcats. And here goes the strong server again. She hits that one over toward Granados. Granados hits it up into the bleachers.
Other than being a strong serve, it spins.
Yep.
So it's kind of hard when the ball hits your hands. It's going to spin to the right, to the left. So
she's got a serve that just completely gives us fits. We've now moved all 3 of our front row people up to the front row. We keep that one alive. We hit it over to the Bobcats. Bobcats, we're going to set her again.
Quick set on them.
Keep it alive. Ooh, and then we Gallant misplayed that one and hit it back over toward this backside out of bounds. So it is 5-0 here in set number 3.
Not a good way to start this set. Not a good way at all.
So here comes the serve.
It's in.
And that one is in. Yep. So she got an ace there. This young lady, I mentioned it before she even started this service run, but she has given us fits from the service line. It's 6-0, and she's still serving. And there's a strong one. Chloe Jones makes a good first touch on that one. They set Gallant. Gallant slams it down, but the Bobcats keep it alive. Jones with another first touch. We set Kiki, and Kiki's going to get a point. The problem is now Gallant goes to the bench. And as we've mentioned before, it's usually about a 9-10 point rotation before she comes back in. Jones with the serve. It's a pretty good one. Hagerman keeps it alive. They're going to set it up down the net. Hagerman or Eunice keeps it alive, and they're going to hit it deep. Hagerman with a pretty good first touch. They try to tip it over to us. Rangel keeps it alive over to Granados. Rangel tries to touch it across, and that ball's going to be out of bounds. Off of Hagerman, so Eunice will get a point there. It's now 2-4. Eunice trails by 4. They got to get some momentum.
On that last one, I would have left for Kiki to hit it down.
Jones with a nice serve there. Hagerman with a good first touch. They set it up and slam it into the net. And it's now 3-6 in favor of the Lady Bobcats. Chloe Jones back to serve. She hits a good one. They get a good first touch. They have a nice set, and the spike is a good one as well, and they get another point. Jones dives for it, but all she can do is smell it as it goes by. So it's 3-7. Hagerman back to serve again.
Number 3 for Hagerman.
That's Flores. And they serve it down the line. Jones runs over to that side to try to play it. It goes off her hands and into the bleachers for a 3-8. We trail by 5. So here we go. Here's the serve. If we play that one up, we get a pretty good play out of it. We set Bella Garrett. She slams it down. Bobcats send it back across. Rangel to Parker, and Parker hits it long. It is now 9-3 in favor of the Bobcats.
That's a big lead, Coach.
Yes, it is. Flores back to serve. She hits it to Jones. Jones keeps it alive. Then they misplay it at the net, and so Bella Garrett does a really good job and picks us up a point there. Should be 9-4. There it is, 9-4. They changed it.
The coaches are trying to figure out what happened here again. Yep.
Yeah, that time I think
it was a good call, yeah.
So Rangel back to hit. She's going to serve it across. She gets a good serve. They try that little short, and it worked. They tried that little short set. That's something we talked about before the game today that we don't ever do. And Robbie Robinson wants to talk about it. She calls it timeout. Eunice trails 4-10 here in set number 3. They lost the first set 16-25 after leading 7-8-9, something like that, to 1 early in that first set. The second set, they lost 23-25 and they were up 23 to 20 or 23 to 21 and had a real good chance, couldn't finish it.
And this is a district game, and if we do lose this game, everybody's tied with one loss, correct?
Yes, yeah, you have Hagerman, Tatum, and us that would all have one loss in the first round of district play. So, you know, this is huge. You win this, and you're in real good shape going into the second half of district play. You lose it, and you're still in good shape, but it's a battle now.
Yeah, and we have a lot of away games, right?
Yes, yes, because most of these first games were home games with the exception of Loving and Jow. So your tough teams, Hagerman and Tatum, you're playing them at home the first round. So you could sure use these wins right here. It's 10-4. Here comes the serve from number 10, Villa. Jones with a good first touch there. Parker sets Bella Garrett. Garrett just pushes it over.
50-50 ball.
50-50 ball, and we're going to get that one. So
Good
that's
job.
going to make it 10-5 in favor of the Bobcats. Kiki Parker will be back to serve.
It's creeping on back.
So Parker back to serve. She throws it up and hits it over. It's a good one. Hagerman keeps it alive. A little bump set and some spike action. Rangel tries to get a good first touch. Oh, my goodness. Bella Garrett does a really good job.
Saving that ball, playing the ball. Hagerman was even surprised. They didn't even play it back.
She was running to her right, kind of backwards, and hit it with a one-handed swing, and it went right back across the net. So Parker with a really good serve there. Jones with a good first touch. Parker with a set. Granados hits it. Hagerman had some problems with it, but they keep it alive. They hit it out to Garrett. Garrett slams it down, but Hagerman keeps it alive.
Oh.
They had a good spike there from the outside.
And
Garrett
Bella
blocked it, but she blocked it out of bounds. So that makes it 6-11. We need one more on our side for a big gulp. And it is 6-11, a tough first touch, and we're not getting a big gulp.
That's the story of this whole game, this whole set. We have not handled the first hit.
That first touch there by Rangel sails out of bounds. It's 6-12. The Lady Cardinals are struggling. Here's the serve. That's a tough one. And Parker has a tough time with that one.
Yep. That's real tough.
This young lady here that's serving, I believe that's the one that's Chloe's age, and when they were younger, man, she used to do a jump serve all the time and just slam it. She was tough to deal with.
Yep, and she runs cross country, if I'm not mistaken, as well.
So it is 7-13 in favor of the Bobcats, and Bella Garrett will be back to serve.
Good.
Yeah, we don't have that cross-country program. I've never quite understood that. All these other schools around us do. There's a first touch by the Bobcats. They set the back row. Parker tries to play it. She plays it into the ceiling and right back down on the court. It's now 7-14.
That's what we need to do on our side of the team. Some of the back row sets. We got Kiki back there. Let her hit it from back.
Mm-hmm. So here comes the serve. Rangel plays that one over to the side. They set up Gallant. Gallant just kind of hits it across. Tinley Acosta does the same thing. Jones with the first touch over to Parker, and Gallant slams it out of bounds. So it is 7-15. Once again, discombobulated is the word that I would use here.
This is the worst set they played this morning, this afternoon.
First touch by Jones over to Granados.
Granados 50-50 ball.
What a 50-50 ball.
And
Hagerman tried to kick it.
Yeah, they didn't even try to do nothing with that because Gallant was right there.
Tinley Acosta will go back to serve now. Eunice trails 8-15 here in set 3. They've lost the first 2 sets. Acosta with a good serve. They have a nice set here to their big hitter. Kiki Parker does a good job of keeping that one alive. Tinley Acosta's going to hit it across. Hagerman misplays it, but they send it back across to Eunice. Over to Granados. Gallant with the left hand. Oh, and a nice spike there by Denise on a 50-50 ball at the net, and we get a point. It's 9-15.
And there was a little miscommunication there on Eunice because we had 2 setters bump into each other. So we need to get that worked out right now.
Well, you've got 1, 2, 3.
3 setters out there.
3 people that set, so sometimes that happens. The Hagerman just pushes the other girl out of the way. Yeah. Granados to Gallant. Gallant slams it down. It's 10-15.
Good job. That's what we need right now.
When that right there is clicking, we're really tough. 10-15. Tinley Costa back to serve. She throws it up and hits it across. It's a good one. It skips off the top of the net, but they keep it alive.
Good to 50-50.
50-50 ball. There's a whole bunch of us at the net, and they get the double block on Gallant.
On that right there, when she goes up to spike, somebody needs to be on her backside to help in that empty spot where
I
the
think
box
what
is
made
landed.
that one tough is it was that 50-50 where the ball went up about 3 times all right there and kind of throws everybody off. It's 10-16. Jones at the first touch is not a real good one. Parker keeps it alive, and then we send it across.
This young lady, number 3, every time she does that,
She's smart.
Every time she gets the ball, she looks and pushes it over right away on the first hit, or she just kind of lobs it gently.
So it's now 10-17 in favor of the Bobcats. They're still serving, and they're going to hit that one out of bounds.
She's kind of gone cold, number 14 for Hagerman.
11-17. Granados going to go back to serve. Early in the season, she was one of the most steady players on the team. She gets a good serve here. They get a good set. They try to dip, and they just bump it into the space. It's 11-18.
It's a little sweet, man. I don't know.
They look good. Hager. They're doing things like that. Jones at that first touch just hits it across. And then
like right there, that was so simple. That young lady just tapped the ball over and we couldn't play it.
Yep. 11-19.
Wow.
And she hit it right where we were not. And so it's 11-19 and get a point out of it. It's 11-20.
I've said this before. They have some fast hands.
The Cardinals are on their heels here in set number 3. Here comes the big serve again. This time she took a little off of it. We're able to keep it alive. Rangel hits it across. That ball's going to be out of bounds. That'll be a point for the Lady Cardinals. It's now 12-20.
That was a tough play on Hagerman part.
Chloe Jones goes back to the service line. She wastes no time, throws it up, hits it over. Hagerman with a nice first touch. Here's the set. The set
good block
at the net. We block it. And I guess we got the point. I wasn't sure whether it fell in or out, but that's a good point there by Bella at the net. It's 13-20. Jones with the serve. First touch is a good one for Hagerman. They get a good set, and they slam it down, but Tinley Acosta does a good job of keeping it alive, and the Cardinals stay alive by sending it back across. The little setter does a good job of just touching it into the open space. Denise Rangel hits it across. Hagerman just sends it back over. Granados with the set after Chloe had that first touch, and Parker hits it out of bounds. It'll be 13-21 in favor of the Bobcats. So while we've got a minute, while they're chasing balls, we want to make sure we give a shout out to the Eunice Public Schools. Dwayne Haynes, Cynthia Sims, Rosendo, sitting next to me, Matt Coy, Kenny Reed, Ashley Davis, David Gallegos, and all the staff. Here comes the serve by the Bobcats. Parker with the set over to Bella. She just hits it across. Bump, set, and spike for the Bobcats, and the Cardinals can't handle it. It is 13-22.
Once again, she hit it up on that line, man. Number 13 did. She's beating us all game.
Struggling. So number 3, that's Flores. She hits it right over the top of the Cardinal defense, and we weren't moving, and it skips right near that little, what do they call that, the 10-foot line, and that one goes off of Rangel. Chloe Jones tried to save it over diving into the chairs. Lucky she didn't hurt herself. It's 24, so it is set point here.
For Hagerman.
Rangel gets a good touch there. We set Garrett, and Garrett slam dunks it.
Kept it alive for Eunice, man.
14-24, still alive.
Still alive when we got Rangel serving, so it gives us a chance here.
So Rangel back to serve. The senior, number 10, spins it around, throws it up, and hits it. That's a good one. Hagerman struggles a little bit with it, but the Bobcats find a way to get it in play. They set Parker. Parker uses the right hand to hit it across, which is not the way she normally does it. But we're having a tip game at the net. We're tipping it back and forth. Cardinals keep it alive. Garrett hits it back across. Hagerman's got it now. We've got quite a volley going on here. Jones with the first touch, sends it up toward the net. Tinley Acosta slams it down. Bobcats keep it alive. Bobcats slam it down, and they slam it into the net. So it is now 15-24.
Still got life. We can still come back and win this.
Still breathing. We're like a fish when they throw them up on the bank and don't have any water, just kind of breathing. We're trying here. We're in the game. 15-24. Here's the set, and we aren't anymore. The game is over. That is 3-0 in favor of Hagerman. Hagerman comes in, and I want to say upsets Eunice, but I really don't think it's an upset in the fact that they have beat 3 number ones, or 3 teams that were ranked number 1 during the season. This Bobcat team is for real. They're solid, and they showed it today.
Man. They're salty, you can say.
Yeah, for sure. You know, for the Lady Cardinals, they'll drop now to 15-4 on the season, 15-4. Once again, they had just moved up into that number 4 spot. They leapfrogged Cloudcroft just yesterday in the polls. I would guess the next polls will come out probably on either Monday or Tuesday, and I would guess they'll probably flip-flop the other direction again now. But, you know, now we're sitting in a position where us, Hagerman, Tatum, are all tied atop the district standings with 1 district loss apiece.
That's going to make it real tough.
It's going to get real interesting coming into the second half of district play.
Ladies.
We've got a tough district, though. You know, you look around the state, and there's not too many teams that have 3 teams that, to me, are quality top 4 teams. And these, you know, this District 4-2A team or 4-2A teams are tough. So, you know, we want to make sure we shout out to our sponsors: Parker Energy Services, Devon Energy, Eunice Pump and Supply, Eunice Health Clinic, Eunice Public Schools, Cardinal Hardware, City of Eunice, Zia Auto Shop, and Redbird Gas. Any thoughts?
Man, we just need to keep performing as the Lady Cardinals keep moving forward. We just can't make no more mistakes the next couple of games.
Next week, I believe the only game that we're covering is, I think it's Thursday. And I can't even remember who it is we're playing. I probably have it somewhere here in my paperwork.
It'll probably be Jow here.
Yeah, it's where is it? It's on this paper somewhere.
We played Jow there last week.
Okay, so here we go. The Lady Cards will face Loving at home Thursday, and then they go to Tatum on Saturday. We'll be covering the Loving game here on Thursday. The Tatum game Saturday will be covered by Allen and the crew that they have up there that cover the Tatum game, so they'll be covering him. I'll be there in the bleachers screaming like a crazy dad, but we won't be covering it on the radio. Then next week, my understanding, and nobody's told me any differently at this point, but my understanding is that the way the football games are set up, they're going to have the seating and selection show next weekend. So this week there will be no football game. So it looks like we've only got 1 game to cover, you know, this coming week. So we'll have a little bit of a break going into, you know, into playoff time for football.
Yeah, that's good. We can rejuvenate a little bit.
That's right. So for Rosendo Caballero, Charlie Fairbrush, I'm Jimmy Jones here at Joe Langston Gymnasium. We appreciate everyone tuning in and listening. The Lady Cards fall here 3-0 in this district matchup. Thank you for listening. Everyone have a great weekend. Goodbye.
Goodbye.